sin does more harm to you than it does to God. But wait, does sin even do any harm to God? The Lord told us not to sin, to protect us for your own good and not for his own good. Now, this is what sin does to our relationship with God. Imagine that you are standing on a high place, close to God. You are standing with God on a staircase. When you sin, you are immediately taking 10 steps backward, away from God. When we sin, it is not God that moves away from us. God remains where he is, but rather we are the one that is separated from God. We are the one that moves away from God. God remains where he is, but sin pushes us away from God. And even when you ask for mercy and you are forgiven, you are not immediately catapulted back to that place that you were standing beside God. No, you have to again take those steps one after the other to get to that place, that close relationship where you are with God. And during this process of climbing, you are going to face what we call guilt. And guilt might even cause delay from getting close to God, because you might start feeling unworthy. You start having flashbacks of your sin, and devil will give you 1001 reasons why you are not worthy to stand in that place where you are with God during the process of getting back the relationship with God. And someone might ask, if God really loves us as he said, why don't he just remove all these processes, and whenever we sin, we just continue standing close to him? We don't move, we don't shake, we don't fall. But although God is a God of mercy, abundant mercy, and a God of loving kindness, he still remains a God of justice. Yes. Do you know that even God had to obey his own law in order to fulfill his desires, when he saw that his desires was going to come across to break his law? And someone might ask, when did they write in the Bible that God had to obey his law? Let us wait. There's a law that states that the wages of sin is death. And God, through his eyes of loving kindness towards man, he noticed that the whole of mankind is heading towards death, is going towards death, because we as mere man, we cannot say no to sin. We cannot conquer the desires of sin. We keep falling into sin. And since he saw that the whole man was going into sin and he wanted to save mankind, what did God do? Did he say that no, the wages of sin is no longer death? No. God did not change his law because he wanted to save man, because he said, I am God, I never change. In Malachi chapter 3 verse 6, he said that I am the Lord, I never change. That is why the descendants of Jacob are not consumed. But what did God do instead? God rather sent his only begotten son to come down and die to fulfill the requirements of that law. That law stated that the payment of sin is death. So he sent his own righteous son to come and pay for the sins of the whole world. Someone that did not owe the wages came to pay for the sin of me and you. So now, if God can obey his own law just for him to fulfill his will, just for him to fulfill his heart desire, he had to work according to his already stated law. Are you telling me that you are not going to obey his law and follow his principles, live according to his precepts for you to have a right standing and a close relationship with him? So before I go, let me tell you this. Anytime that you are being tempted to sin, remember that the flesh is not your friend. You are now spirit. The flesh doesn't care about your eternity because it won't follow you there. Only your soul and your spirit will spend eternity in hell. So while it's pushing you to sin, while it's pushing you to that temptation, remember that it won't follow you there. Don't try to protect your flesh. Follow the Spirit's leading. May God help us all in the name of Jesus.